Well, good morning. Welcome to Unity of Gainesville on this fourth Sunday of September. I'm Jo Sherwood, and I'm going to be serving as your celebration assistant this morning. We are delighted to have the very talented Don Necco providing our music today, and the wise and wonderful Jeanie Ward is our speaker, and her topic is divine unfoldment. Reverend Jeanie tells us that divine unfoldment is divine action, which is eternally pouring forth God's perfection, grace. The very essence of life, or love, expresses itself in conscious harmony and boundless creation, demonstrating the constancy of God's operative law of ever unfolding good. Within the realization and remembrance of oneness, we are empowered to access a higher awareness, understanding, and assurance of divine order ever present, flowing in all things, in every situation, every season, and in every now moment. Reverend Jeanie refers us to Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. We're looking forward to how that divine order and divine unfoldment is working all the time, everywhere, always. So right now I have a few announcements to make. I will begin with a reminder from Vanco. The Give Plus mobile app will not be supported or functional after September 30th, 2021. Don't forget to change to the Vanco mobile app if you haven't already done so. Your user ID and password will be the same. Please note that the text to give method of donating is not going to change. Now I have an update from the Board of Trustees. We met last Tuesday, and because Hall County remains in the severe risk category, we're going to continue with our virtual meetings only, and that will be for at least another month until the board has its next monthly meeting. But we want to continue watching the stats and monitor them to determine when it will be prudent to resume meeting at the church. We have a new fundraiser campaign that we approved, and that will help with the cost of replacing at least one of the HVAC units that serves the sanctuary. 2 generous donations have already been received. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are so grateful. This is going to happen. If you're making donations to this fundraiser, please note HVAC fundraiser or furnace when making your donations that are in addition to your regular tithes. Appreciate all the help and support we can get during these crucial times without a minister, without meeting in the church, and now the furnace situation. So thank you for any support you can give us. 13 people participated in the drumming circle that was held last Wednesday evening on the fall equinox. After a sacred opening ritual, Darlene provided a little history of drumming traditions before she led us in a synchronized beat session. We closed with tremendous gratitude for one another. It just felt so good to be on our church grounds and being able to socialize outside. It was just wonderful. And just witnessing everybody's love and joy for being together is very rewarding and inspirational. Really, everybody, you matter. And when we see you enjoying each other and participating, it really makes a difference and motivates us to continue with our hard work. So we appreciate you. Our very talented and creative marketing and communications coordinator, Patsy Yarborough, has launched our upgraded website. Although there are still some bugs to be worked out, I think it's beautiful. So just go to the website at unityofgainesville.org and have fun exploring, get used to how things are set up. They've been rearranged a little bit. So just start clicking on those navigation menus. We'll welcome your feedback, which is best submitted by using the Contact Us feature on that website. If needed, you can still subscribe to receive our Thursday e-newsletter by signing up on our website as well. So if you're here for the very first time on this Zoom session, I'd like to say welcome. I'm glad you're here, glad you found us. And I'd like to share with you what I love about Unity of Gainesville. It really was while experiencing the effects of the healing drum circle that we had, I just really realized that the love and appreciation that we have for one another really makes a difference. And from what was expressed after the drumming circle, I was not alone in feeling that appreciation of our oneness. Whenever we come together, whether it's in person or virtually, I feel the love of this church family. So that's hopefully you will latch on to that love and feel that you're a part of our family as well. We welcome you and want you to feel comfortable. So Don, will you please bless us with your song, Open Our Hearts and Our Minds?
If we think of heaven as having streets of gold, where angels float around us, just like we have been told. If we think of heaven as someplace we might be, we'll miss all the wonder life can be. Oh, hear our prayer. Love, lift us up high. Oh, hear our prayers and songs. Open our hearts and our minds. If we think that heaven is really a rebirth, we realize that heaven is really here on earth. All the gifts of nature are here to help us see all the wonder life can be. Oh, hear our prayer. Love, lift us up high. Oh, hear our prayers and songs. Open our hearts and our minds.
So thank you, Dawn, for that beautiful music. You always enrich this service so much. My name is Levon Hoagland, and I am chaplain for today. Welcome. And using the words of opening our hearts, I'm going to suggest as we listen to the daily word that we listen with that open heart and just allow what words of the daily word, allow them to have their way with you and to touch you in what is yours to hear. Our word for today is let go and let God. And our affirmation, divine love, wisdom, and understanding express through me. Would you join me in saying this affirmation? Divine love, wisdom, and understanding express through me. If I feel unsure of the next step in any situation, I let go and I let God. I don't walk away from difficulty or try to force resolutions. Instead, I release my tight mental grip on problems and open myself to solutions. I let go of my ego's desire for control and my need to bring about specific outcomes. I believe there are solutions and remedies beyond what my mind can conceive. I yield to possibility, and I trust the indwelling divine presence just as I would trust a mentor. Letting go and letting God means creating space for the dynamic, creative energy of spirit to inspire and surprise me. Divine love, wisdom, and understanding fuel my thoughts, express through my words, and guide me in all ways. And from Psalms 86:11, teach me your way, O Lord, that I may walk in your truth. Give me an undivided heart to revere your name. So I'd like to mention about if any of you would like to request prayer, our prayer chaplains are very glad to pray with you. You may reach out by calling and leaving a message at the church office. You may also, and we will be glad to get back with you. You may also contact Silent Unity on the free You Pray app for your smartphone. Now, please join me in praying over the requests which have been placed on our prayer list. And you may softly speak the names of those you would like to include in this sacred prayer space, and we will hold those names and situations in this prayer. You may do that at this time. We know for these names spoken and unspoken that God is the active energy of life, love, health, and peace. As we release this prayer on the wings of love, we know and affirm that all is working for the highest and the best in all conditions. And so it is. Amen. So now it is my pleasure to invite Reverend Jeanie to give us her wonderful message of divine unfoldment.
Thank you so much, Levon. Welcome, everybody who is here on the Zoom and Facebook Live, wherever you may be this morning. And for those of you who may watch this at a later time, we are honored that you are here to join us this morning for this exquisite experience of the divine expressing through each and every one of us individually, and then we come together collectively, and here in this moment this morning, coming together as Unity of Gainesville, as this beautiful light in the world. And so I'm honored and delighted to be here, to be a conduit this morning for the Christ light to shine through me and to offer you a message in the desire and hopes that it will nourish you in mind, body, heart, and soul. So thank you again for being here. Lavon, I just wanted to say your reading this morning could not be a more perfect intro to my talk. But what you said, I was like, okay, it's already in divine order as she's speaking right now. It's a beautiful segue. And then Dawn's music, as always, so perfect. And it's a perfect example, actually, of everything coming together, everything in such a manner as it is meant to. You know, I think in Unity, I remember the first time I heard the phrase, well, you know, everything's in divine order. And it can sound a little glib. It can sound like a cliche at times. And I think we could all, you know, look out in the world or in our lives sometimes, or if you share something with someone and you know, what's going to come out of their mouth, in a way, I know their intention is well meant, of course, but it's like, you know, it's okay, take a breath. Everything's in divine order. So chill out and it's all good. You know, we hear this stuff all the time. And it's like, okay, if I look out in the world right now, it may not look like or feel like divine order. In fact, it would be quite the contrast of probably divine disorder, but that would lend itself to us recognizing how we're seeing it. Not so much what we're seeing, but how we're seeing it and what narrative we are going to attach to it because of the appearance of it, sometimes how it feels, the emotionality of it, and in the spiritual experience that we're having, you know, we're this human, this beautiful creation of God in this form, but spiritual beings. But in that humanness, it's not so easy to hear like, okay, everything's in divine order. Well, I guess I don't know what I'm going to do with that. And maybe my anxiety or the collective anxiety feels so heavy today. And I really don't know how to find my way out of that. Or how do I take the next breath in that moment that feels so heavy and hopeless at times. And I think it's really important that we honor and recognize what it can feel like in that human experience. And to know that it's like in Unity, you know, we talk about denials and affirmations, right? And so it's not saying, oh, there's not something happening, but the difference is I'm going to affirm and know that it has no power over me, that there is something else great at work here. Okay. And even when I make that statement, I'm like, how do I know there's something awesome and great at work here when what's in front of me is all of this other stuff? I think of the clouds in the sky, and I think of God sometimes, the divine intelligence, all that is like the sky. I think of it as this awesome backdrop to life itself. And when clouds are passing through or storms are passing by, do we know, okay, do you know that when that's finished, that what? The backdrop is going to be again what? The sky. It's going to be the vastness of what's already there, what we already know to be true. And I think our life is a lot like that if, and that's the big if we are tuned in and aligned with the beliefs that support not just, you know, our mind thinking of it in that way, but our whole being and essence experiencing it in that way. Charles Fillmore talks a lot about, when you read about divine order, he speaks of mind, Okay. And then it's like, okay, mind, then what? The idea. There's a mind, idea, and then the expression. So we can go, okay, there's divine mind. Well, there's going to be a different divine idea that's going to come from that, and a completely different expression when we are aligned with divine mind and we recognize, oh, I'm so much in my human mind right now that my ideas are certainly not going to be anything close to the frequency and vibration of a higher way to see this be expressed. So it's really calling us to say, in this moment right now, am I aware? Am I awake to what it is I truly believe? What is happening within me, within my field? Am I aligned so that that frequency and that sacred space, that coherence with the Christ consciousness will empower me and enrich me to be able to navigate the world differently, because I'm going to see it differently or see it rightly. Those are the words that we often hear in unity teaching. I'm going to see it right. It's not about rightly and wrongly. I'm going to see it in such a way that it's going to not just the outer appearance, but it's going to feel different. And the energy of it is going to be totally different. And I have the assurance of knowing, yes, as a storm passes through, or the chaos, there is order in chaos. And you might go, really? How could that possibly be? It's, again, through the divine mind, the divine understanding that also includes the heart. And when we make that connection and not just try to think our way through it, but drop down into the very essence of love that we are, there's a holy shift that happens. And that frequency and that vibration is totally different. We are different. It's like a quickening. It's like that moment of touching the garment, and everything is different because we are different. We are forever changed. And in that space, we can go, okay, you know what? Everything is in divine order, but I'm giving myself permission to have my human feelings around it, because the divine, this amazing intelligence, God, has its desire to express and experience itself, the full totality of everything, and to continue to recognize itself and to come home to itself through us and through all of these experiences that we are having. Because all of us here today, those who may listen to this later, and then the collective experience, it's going to keep evolving and changing and growing and shifting. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here. And as I say that to you, you might go, well, you know, Jeanie, I'm not so sure about that. Maybe I'm not sure why I'm here. And Charles Fillmore, again, as he's speaking about divine order and things unfolding in a divine way, he calls us to ask the questions. And these have always been two of my favorite questions when I got out of just thinking we're a who, you know, we're a personality, and all the stories and things that have happened to us in this lifetime. We define ourselves with a name, with a label. You know, if we all had a conversation today and say, well, who are you? Most people would probably start saying, well, I'm my name would probably be the first thing we'd say. And we go, what's the next thing most people ask? Well, what do you do? We don't usually say, well, tell me about yourself. Who are you? And what do? We start listing all of the things that we do. And maybe I could say in a different way, well, who you be? You know, who you be? As silly as that sounds, but that would be a more real, authentic question. Who are you? And then it slips into my favorite question. Let's rise above the who and say, what are you? That's the difference of experiencing something in the who all the time and moving out of the stories and the labels and the stuff that has defined us, or that we have allowed even to, you know, shape us and mold us, if you will, that we can just soar into the what and go, wow, what do I believe? And what is unity's first principle? There's a divine what? Presence and power in, around, and through all things. So if you ask yourself, do I really believe that? Or is it contingent? Is it conditional? For you to get really clear with yourself and asking that question. So self-inquiry is always one of my favorite tools for us to really get real with ourselves and say, everything is in divine order because I do believe. My subconscious is based in, yes, there is a power and presence. Call it life, call it love, call it God, call it Buddha, call it Allah, universe creator, it doesn't matter. Whatever you want to call it, to me, is irrelevant. What matters is the essence of it. That's the what. That's the essence. There are no words to define that. That's why there are so many. Have you ever thought about that? When we try to define God, what? There's no way to put a label on God. You know, Mother, Father, God. We can talk about, all the different labels that we have. A lot of us think about Mother Earth and Father Sky, and we have these gender associations with it, but it is beyond that. But yet here we are on planet Earth in this moment in time. So we're experiencing things in the way that we, and yet right now on this planet, in this dimension, so much is happening to where our consciousness is given the opportunity to expand, to grow, to be more than it has ever known itself to be. And for us to say, wow, that is divine order unfolding. Right here and now in this moment, everywhere I look, divine order is right here and right now. And it's being demonstrated in such ways that, again, my human mind could not even begin to comprehend. I think of the acorn, or I think of the caterpillar. When you think about that, if you get hung up in, okay, how could I remind myself that there is something greater happening here? How could I remind myself to be anchored into a belief that's beyond my human understanding? I could say, okay, oh yeah, the acorn, there's a divine blueprint, and it's going to unfold divinely in divine timing in its own way for it to express itself unlike any other oak tree. So each of us is this wonderful seed, if you will. I love to use nature as an example because what? To everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Ecclesiastes, right there. We can say nature is the reminder of us to say, oh my goodness, it's unfolding all around me. So if I get hung up in the doubt and the fear and the confusion and the chaos and all of that, there is a place that is always available to me if I am open to that. And if I am willing, my talk last month was a power of willingness. So if I'm willing to be open to a higher understanding, to expand my divine mind and to do what I'm called to do, then I can lean into that if I like, or I can stand in it, or I can position myself however it allows me to tap into that power and presence and that knowing that yes, right here and in my heart, oh, there's such a beautiful experience unfolding. And when it doesn't feel good physically or emotionally, or it tugs at my heart in my spirituality and the core in it, and that divine discontent. I can't remember the author who really expanded on that divine discontent. I can't think of who that person is. But to me, when we're in that place of divine discontent, that's an awesome place to be because it rattles us and it shakes us up. And we need to be rattled and shaken and all of those things to stir things up. Because I think even Lavon early when she was reading the morning unity reading, it was about dynamic and flow. And that's what the divine unfoldment is. It's this ongoing energy flow of life. It's like the sacred streaming event, if you will. Even when Joe was talking about the drumming, I can only imagine how awesome that was. I've been to so many drummings and the energy is so palpable and you can feel that, in, around and through you. And it's like I love it because it's the vibration that it shakes away everything that is unlike love and light and God and that divine essence that we are, so that we can just have that moment and begin to remember, oh yes, that kingdom of God is right here within me and everything is unfolding. My challenges, there's a wonderful quote, it's more of a reading I came across by Wayne Dyer, and I know most of you are familiar with him, but I wanted to share this morning. It's in a universe that's an intelligent system with a divine creative force supporting it, right? Okay, so we're talking about the sky and the clouds and everything unfolding, this divine creative force supporting it. What? Life is happening for us, not to us, if that's what we choose to believe. There simply can be no accidents. As tough as it is, and this is what I mean, when the rubber meets the road, and we're looking out there and we're seeing everything we see and we're hearing everything we hear, those are tough moments. But we need those moments. Just like strengthening a muscle, we need to stretch it and it needs to go beyond its limits. That's going into divine mind because we'll never comprehend it in our human understanding. It ain't going to happen. So when we recognize that, we go on to, as tough as it is to acknowledge these things have happened and how it feels and all of that, you had to go through what you went through in order to get to where you are today. And the evidence is that you did. You are here right now. And everything that's happening in the world right now, I'm very much about the thing. Things need to break down, to have breakthroughs, to be able to break away and open to something that is beyond our human understanding. I've let go of trying to figure things out anymore. And I say, what was read earlier, let go, let God. That's another thing that can be cliche and say, okay, I'll let go and I'll let God, and that's fine, and all that kind of stuff. But it's really more of an allowing, if you will. That to me is a little different. In a place of allowing, we're not trying to, okay, I'm holding on to this belief and everything, I'm going to let it go. It's like, no, let me just breathe. In fact, let God breathe me, right? Let the divine breathe me as it has been doing since when? Since I first arrived on this earthly planet. It already knows to do what it knows to do. Just like your divine essence, when you are plugged in and aligned with that presence, it already knows how to guide you, to lead you to the next moment. And in the trenches, when it's tough and you feel like perhaps your faith is wavering and your hope is, dim, and all of those things that we can write about, we know the feeling of it. But it's in that moment that we can surrender and just allow what desires, hear that word, what desires to fulfill you and enrich you. It hasn't gone anywhere. In fact, it's saying, oh, please, please, please allow me, right, to enrich you, to strengthen you, to empower you. Just like that oak tree wanting to find its full expression from that little bitty acorn. If that acorn said, no, 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 I don't want to grow to a big oak tree, that's beyond my understanding, nothing's going to happen, or it's going to be a pretty gnarly, and that's a perfect word, a gnarly experience, right? So the oak tree's going to have all these kinds of things about it probably because it's what? If it's weathered storms, if it's gone through a drought, if it's experienced stuff, what's happening though is what I like to see. That oak tree has developed character. It has developed wisdom. it has developed in such a way that all of those wounds and scars and things that have happened have just strengthened it. It has enriched it in ways that only it knows. Just like you. You are the only one in your human experience and even in your essence who knows what you experience and what you have, what has brought you, as Wayne Dyer said, to this moment, going through the things that you have. And in those moments, it probably would not have been easy at all to have said, okay, everything's in divine order. I would have gone, no, I just don't think I can get there. And that's okay. Because the divine will keep knocking at the door. The divine, once it has touched you, you can do everything you can do. And depending on what your soul's journey is about and your timing, because oak trees don't all grow at the same time. Caterpillars do not evolve all at the same time. There's a roughly time frame, but it's different for everybody. That's the beauty of it. You know, we impose these conditions on ourselves, or we look in the world out there and say, well, golly, am I growing spiritually? Am I evolving spiritually on the timeline that I'm supposed to be? That happens a lot. I know in unity teachings and not just in unity teachings. I've heard it a lot. Well, I don't feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I'll go, okay, do you want me to say the cliche thing? You're exactly where you're meant to be in this moment, right? And you're like, I know, but I don't want to hear that anymore. And I go, okay, you don't have to hear it. And you can push it away and you can resist it, and that's okay. That's part of your journey. So when we can embrace all of that and allow ourselves, you know, to take that breath and to know that that God, the universe, may not always bring us what we think we need, but it will bring us exactly what we are meant to have in any moment. In fact, when I was getting ready for this talk this morning, just this funny kind of idea came into my head, and I just have to share it with you. I thought it was just so perfect. I was thinking of, the Kingdom Within. So I was thinking of the Kingdom Within Cafe, right? Okay, so you go inside there, and the universe is always, I think, saying, kind of like the varsity here in Atlanta, what do you have? What do you have, right? And the universe is always saying, tell me what you like, put in your order. Okay, I talked about divine order, divine unfoldment, right? Okay, so the universe says, what do you have? What do you have? Okay, and your heavenly server comes up to your table in the divine Kingdom Cafe, and you put in your order. So, you're waiting there, and so your order arrives, and you're like, you're looking at it, and you're like, this is not what I ordered. And your heavenly angel server looks at you and says, remember, I'm here to serve you. Trust me, it's exactly what you ordered. So give it a try. And you probably will be surprised. So it's off, a lot of times, I think when I was younger, certain foods like, oh, no, that's not something I care for. And I would always hear, oh, you need to cultivate a taste for that. It's more of an adult taste. I'm sure we've all heard that before. And our senses and how we experience things is very different. It's no different as we continue to grow from that childlike infant state in our spirituality and our evolution and our expansion. And we're not ready for those things at that time. But we are certainly here to cultivate and grow that consciousness so that when, something arrives at our doorstep, and or at our table when we're at the Kingdom of Heaven Cafe, and it arrives, we can go, okay, it's an opportunity for me to expand my palate, okay, and to taste some things that maybe I've said I'm not ready for, but the opportunity is there. And so your heavenly server says, trust me. And that right there is where we get hung up. That's where we get hung up. It's like things are arriving, things are showing up in the world out there, things are happening within my own personal life. And what are we often presented with? we're presented with an opportunity to say, trust that everything is unfolding divinely. There are no accidents, and your best and highest good is always at hand. If you can allow yourself to what? Receive it. And oftentimes we also get hung up in that. We're not ready to receive it yet because perhaps we're feeling we're not ready for it, or we're not worthy of it, or we don't understand it. But if you go back to Unity's first principle and you ask yourself again, and I think that's a good way to do a reality check for us sometimes when we get hung up, is to say, do I believe in that first Unity principle? You know, that there is this power and presence and around and through all things, and it's unfolding perfectly, divinely, for the best and highest of me and all. And I think that's such a foundational, beautiful principle that we can, maybe it's time to refresh it. Maybe it's time to reboot it in our own lives and ask ourselves, do I really believe that? Or maybe there's another version of it, you know, because I'm not going to sit here and say, well, there's only one way for you to believe. There's a way for you to believe. And this unity principle, it's universal. It's multiversal. You know, it's an energy and a principle that is found everywhere you go. If you choose to see life and creation as this ongoing, on-flowing process. Plato puts it like this: the philosopher whose dealings are with divine order acquires the characteristics of order and divinity. Let me read that again. The philosopher, so think of yourself this morning as a philosopher, because we all are. We have our own philosophy of life, do we not? Most definitely. We may not think of ourselves that way, but we are. The philosopher whose dealings are with divine order acquires, that's what I was basically saying earlier, the more we are immersed in this, we will acquire these things because it's about the essence. It's not the who, remember, it's the what. It says acquires the characteristics, which is really the energy, attributes, if you will, but not in the human mind way that we understand it, of order and divinity. And another wonderful quote by Sarah Von Branach. Some of you I know are probably familiar with a lot of her writings. She says, invite divine order, and this is what I'm asking all of you to consider today. Invite divine order into your life today, and a more serene tomorrow will unfold. And we all know that the world out there is changed and transformed by the world within us. This is where it begins. As you transform your own inner world and you are aligned with divine mind in such a way that you access a higher vibrational understanding, a more serene tomorrow can't help but unfold. It's a natural flow from that state of consciousness. Catherine Ponder, I'm sure Unity folks are very familiar with her work, many books, and she actually, was a founder of Unity Church Worldwide. I wanted to share that this morning. I wasn't aware of that. I know she was in Unity, but I did not realize she was a founder of Unity Church Worldwide. And she says, this is a little bit what Lavon was reading earlier, I now let go of worn out things, worn out conditions, and worn out relationships. Divine order is now established and maintained in me and my world. Did you hear those specific things? Worn out things, worn out conditions, and worn out relationships. And we're in relationship with everything. And we are in relationship with people. We're in relationship everywhere we go. So it's calling you also to examine those and look at those. A lot has happened in the last 18 months and all kinds of shifts and changes have happened. Even in your relationship with yourself, about letting go of worn out things, worn out conditions, paradigms. I think of parsimonious paradigms, is what comes to mind, so that we can go into prosperity paradigms. So these are wonderful, wonderful ideas that I'm sharing with you this morning, as Charles Filmer was saying about the mind and an idea and then the expression of it. And as I get ready to fold, I want to share two more quotes with you that I think are just so lovely. Julia Cameron, you may know her well, famous author and artist. No matter is too complex for the healing impact of divine mind. Did you hear that word, healing impact? That's what the world needs now, more than ever. Divine mind arranges everything to its highest order. What lies within you, this is what I said earlier, it's already within you, this knowing, knows how to act and when to act. How and when. That's divine timing. That's divine order. That's when you're operating from that divine space and not in your human mind. Tuned to divine mind, you have an unshakable inner clarity that makes proper and appropriate choices. Your good is assured. That was even in the writing earlier that Joe read when I talked about there's an assurance that comes to us, that's available to us when we tap into divine mind and really know that divine order is in, around, and through all things. And the last quote is by Florence Scovel Shinn, author. The light of lights streams through my mind, body, and affairs, revealing divine order. I see clearly there are no obstacles on my pathway. I see clearly the open road of fulfillment. And I love that word fulfillment because it calls us in our soul's journey. Are we fulfilled? Are we fulfilling our purpose as we signed up for this journey? So all of these beautiful things are in this beautiful tapestry of divine order and the divine unfoldment, knowing that truly this divine intelligence, spirit, creator, life, love, light is having its way with us as we allow it to, and we have the joy and blessing to be that expression in every moment. So take that deep breath this morning, and when you look outside in the world, or you turn on the TV or whatever you may do, and something knocks you down or brushes up against you, you have all of these wonderful, it's more than just teachings. It's this wonderful wisdom, this wonderful energy, this wonderful presence, and that's it. Be one with that presence and know in that oneness. That's where divine order is unfolding beautifully. And I now think Dawn is going to lead us into a time of meditation. Thank you so much, Dawn.
In the stillness, when I'm quiet, deep inside I know that the light enfolds my heart with its loving glow. In the quiet, when I'm waiting, in my heart I see light and love flow from inside the deepest part of me. In the stillness, when I'm quiet, in the stillness, when I'm quiet.
So we enter into this sacred moment of stillness. This place of communion with the Christ consciousness. Allow your breath to breathe you. And feel that blessing of your breath moving into your physical body, this beautiful, sacred, holy temple. Feel that breath of God streaming through you right now as it nourishes you. Allow yourself to relax into it. And as you open to receiving it, so much is being offered to you in this beloved breath. The nourishment of your physical body, a remembrance that God is but a breath away. And in any moment when we are feeling disconnected, uncertain, frightened, we can allow that breath to bring us back. We can allow it to return us to the remembrance of knowing that there is this divine power and presence moving in, around, and through all things, including you, including me. Everywhere present. Just as your breath knows how to enter and leave your body, that is a divine experience unfolding in the right timing, in the right way. That is so perfect. And it offers you an awareness unlike any other, an awareness of reawakening, remembering that you are this divine idea in the mind of God, created uniquely as you, here to express, here to experience, here to emerge and expand as all that you are and more. So allow that breath and allow that light of love, that light of the divine to wash over you right now. Infusing you, refreshing you, reawakening you with clarity, with conviction, with compassion and a renewed commitment to allow yourself to be all that you were created to be from that first seed of creation until this moment of now, and all that your journey has brought you and brought you to. Moving forward, upward, onward, knowing that right here and right now, this presence will propel you and prepare you for all that lies ahead. With assurance and the confidence and courage in all things. We give thanks for this knowing, this time of stillness, this time of reflection and contemplation. I know that divine order is unfolding in, around, and through, and as me, and all is well.
Awaken my heart and help me to see. Awaken my heart to wisdom. Blessings will flow and they help me to know. Awaken my heart to the light. Awaken my heart to the light.
Thank you, Don, for sharing your beautiful music today. And you can learn more about Don and his music at his website, donnecco.com. And thank you, Reverend Jeanie, for your very enlightening message about how the divine is eternally unfolding. You can follow Reverend Jeanie on her Facebook page. Next week's speaker is Reverend Angela Harmon, and Kristen Justice will return as our musician. We'll look forward to that. Look forward to having you with us next week as well. Now I want to invite you to help Unity of Gainesville continue to make a difference in people's lives by sharing your love and financial support. You may use your Venco mobile app or text to give on your smartphone. You can also click on the donate button on our website and follow the instructions there, or just mail a check to the church. Please know that every gift is very much appreciated. Now, visualizing and holding our gifts over our hearts, let us set our intention for our giving as we pray. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I choose to give and all that I am open to receive. I give in love and receive in abundance. Thank you, God. I am so blessed. Now, Don will treat us again with Love Lifts Me Up High. Don?
When I look up to the mountain, standing tall against the sky, my heart is filled with wonder, and my thoughts are lifted high. When I think about our children growing growing up in troubled days, I hold on to hopes for freedom, and that love will lead the way. Love lifts me up high. Love is all we need to do. Love lifts me up high, and the miracle of life comes shining through. When I hear a newborn baby, smell a flower in the spring, I have hopes for peace and harmony, and my heart begins to sing. When I see the children playing, hear their laughter on the breeze, I remember precious moments there in everything I see. I see, and love lifts me up high. Love is all we need to do. Love lifts me up high. There is love in everything we see and do, and the miracle of life comes shining through.
Let us bless these gifts, knowing they come from love and gratitude to bring abundance to this, our community, in order to be of spiritual service according to divine will. And so it is. And now I will bring to the close with the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us this morning, and whether virtual or here live, and just many blessings for your week ahead. Thank you.